Welcome to Small Business, Big Network, the podcast for small business owners who want big results from their networking. I'm Liz Drury, a freelance voiceover artist who knows that if you're not working, then networking could help. Hannah Thompson is the business manager at Heritage Lincolnshire and also the founder of the Development Partner Network. Hannah has organised a range of networking events both on and offline, including a support group for people living with conditions such as ME and fibromyalgia. Thank you very much for joining me on the podcast, Hannah.
Thank you for having me, Liz.
So, Hannah, you're the business manager at Heritage Lincolnshire, and I believe you joined them just before lockdown. So, tell me about your role and how that's been.
Well, I had a bit of time in the office beforehand, so we got to know kind of what the team was like and everything like that. But it's been an interesting ride for Heritage Lincolnshire during COVID, as it has been for many charities across the UK. But we've actually gone from strength to strength in some ways. You know, we've actually increased our team numbers. We've got some exciting new projects coming up that we've kind of won, if you want to say that, throughout the COVID pandemic. And yeah, I think we've come together as a real team to look after the county's heritage and everything like that. So it has been very, very interesting over the last 9 months, definitely.
And you're working on the Heritage Open Days at the moment, aren't you? I think that's a really exciting project.
Definitely. My team's done it for a few years now. And last year, obviously, the whole thing just changed rapidly. And we throughout the beginning of the year, we kept saying, no, we'll be all right by September. It'll be fine. And we'd had such a fantastic year the year before with over 200 events. And it has gone, looking at the history of the festival for Lincolnshire, it has gone from strength to strength. And, you know, Heritage Lincolnshire actually coordinate it. So we kind of get all the event organisers on board. They create their events, and then we publicise it with a brochure, and we do everything on our website and everything like that. And you know, it's gone from a little leaflet over the last 10 years to nearly a 70-page brochure, which is fantastic. But then, yes, last year it just all changed and everything actually went digital. So we had around about 70 events last year still. So we still continue to work with the event organisers to try and give them a digital awareness, and we work with them to develop it. Because again, some of those had never even looked at digital, let alone anything like that. So, we kind of worked with them, and we put on 70 incredible events, and, everybody involved was absolutely fantastic. Typically, Heritage Open Days does not allow any digital events at all. And it hasn't done in the past. It's about face-to-face, opening up doors, all of that kind of stuff. So in some ways, that has actually changed it, and I think actually changed it possibly for the better.
So how's it looking for this year? Is it going to be a mixture of online and in-person events again?
Yes, it is, which is quite exciting for us. And as I say, that change I think has come, and it's been quite a welcome change for the future of the festival. So yes, it is going to be a mixture. Lincolnshire has around about 100 events, which is fantastic. And again, we're hoping next year that we'll increase that again, a good mixture of digital and face-to-face events. And again, we've provided the event organisers with some training events and all of that kind of stuff. So it has actually opened their eyes to how they can use different formats and different platforms to look at engaging new people, which I think is what the festival should now be about.
And just quickly, what are the dates of the festival this year?
Oh, now you're asking me. 10th to the 19th. Or is it the 9th to the 19th? I know it's definitely to the 19th. Let me just double check. It's all kind of blurred into one for us because it's getting all the stuff out and about. So yes, 10th of September to the 19th of September. So it's over a 10-day period and across 2 weekends, which will be really, really, really good.
Fantastic. I'm looking forward to it. Now, alongside your day job, you also run some networking events. Now, I believe that you started networking events back in 2017. What kind of format did these take and how did it come about?
My God, was it really 2017? When you say it like that, oh my goodness, that feels like quite a long time ago. So when I used to work for some people down in Peterborough, we had a very large stadium, and it wasn't used typically during the day. And there was a nice kind of atmosphere around the networking scene in the city, and the people and the businesses there are fantastic.
Mhm.
And I got talking to them, and there wasn't really anything that was a little bit different out there. And we, within the stadium, we had fixed booths, kind of like the old American diner fixed
Mm.
booth type concept. And so we came up with business booth networking. The first one we did, we had 40 businesses along to, which I was really, really chuffed
Mm.
about. So we then decided to do one about 3 months later, and we tripled it. We had 120 businesses come
Wow.
along, and it never stopped growing from there. And it was a little bit different because you had the table area as your exhibition space. The idea was that it was low maintenance, so you only needed to bring along a little box. You didn't have to worry about big banners
Mm-hmm.
and kind of all the fancy pants stuff you have at exhibitions that can be quite costly. And the idea was that you either sat there and let people come to you, so it suited people that were perhaps a little bit shyer with networking and didn't
Mm.
like to approach people, or you could wander around the stadium and go and meet other businesses. And because the kind of the walkways were quite narrow, you kind of bumped into people. I remember what that was like before COVID, I don't know, but it kind of gives you an excuse to then start talking to people. So I think it was just a very casual atmosphere. It was low maintenance. We didn't charge businesses very much, and it was kind of a cross between networking and exhibiting,
Mm.
which I think people quite liked that. So when I left the business I was working for in Peterborough, I kind of thought, you know what, actually, I could take this concept out to other places.
Mm.
So the first place I took it was my hometown, which is Grantham in Lincolnshire. And again, the first event we had over 80 businesses there, and I'd never really networked in Grantham before either. So, people had obviously got to know about it. And to be fair, when we did it down in Peterborough, we had businesses coming from Grantham, from Lincoln, from
Mm-hmm.
Stamford, from Cambridge, Newmarket. We kind of just then thought, do you know what, well, actually, why don't I, get out there and take it to other places? So oh God, now, so what we're now, so 2019, I think we went into 6 different towns,
Mm-hmm.
ranging from Newmarket all the way up to kind of Lincoln area. And yeah, each one kind of exceeded my expectations. I was always just so overwhelmed with the support and that people enjoyed the concept. So I just kept doing it, really. And I enjoyed them as well because, when I turned up to the venues with just a box and a handbag, they
Mm-hmm.
were like, "Are you the event organizer?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah." They're like, "Well, where's all your stuff?" I'm like, "Oh, no, we don't worry about any of that. It's all about, low maintenance." So
Mm.
yeah, I really enjoyed them. And I think people did as well. And so I kept doing them. And 2020, we had plans to go into about 12 different towns across a larger area and everything. And unfortunately, obviously, COVID hit.
Yes,
So
everything changed in March 2020, didn't it? So what did you do? How did you cope with that?
I'll be honest, because I've been working full time at Heritage Lincolnshire and also doing these events on the side, I was shattered. I'm not gonna lie. I was furloughed from Heritage Lincolnshire just temporarily because a lot of the stuff I do is events and face to
Mm-hmm.
face thing. So I was furloughed for a few months, and I'll be honest, I rested. I did rest, and I took the time out because I needed to, I think, for my health and well-being, and
Mm.
to adjust to this suddenly, living at home on my own with my dog. My other half was still, working, so I didn't see him as much. But yes, it was a very strange time. So I did take a few months to kind of readjust
Mm.
to the madness that the world was going in. And then I decided to take the networking online.
Mhm.
And oddly, I thought about this concept about 18 months before, and we'd done a few test runs. And in some ways, I was kicking myself because I hadn't done it sooner. But maybe, it wasn't meant to be in those sorts of ways. But so yeah, we took it online. We called it sofa networking, which is what I was going to call it anyway.
Mhm.
And we started to do that. So we held, I wouldn't even like to say how many events. I think I was doing about 3 a week at one point. And we did sofa networking, which was businesses would come online, they would send me through a slide. So we'd also have a presentation slide. And again, it was about thinking about people who don't always necessarily feel confident doing these sorts of things. So you could
Mm.
hide behind that screen that showcased your business. And then every business would have 45 seconds to a minute to pitch their business. And then you would get the presentation as your delegates list.
Mm.
And we did that for different counties and also different industries as well.
Yeah, I thought it was a great format, and it was something different to what everyone else was doing. And like you say, the ability to have that slide on screen while you're giving your presentation means that people aren't looking at you. They're looking at what's on the screen, and obviously you've got the ability to put all your information on there that you want people to take away, and that then gets sent to people afterwards. So I thought it was a great idea.
Oh, thank you. Well, I hope people enjoyed it, definitely.
Now, you also did some online showcases too. Were those easy to arrange?
Luckily, I had somebody I did those with. So I worked with Kerry of Polka Dot Events, who's based down Northampton area. And, again, we wanted to come up with a bit more of a different concept of, how can we kind of do how I was doing the showcase events in person, how could we actually do that online? And Kerry found a great platform, and we worked together to produce those. And, it was really, really nice to work with somebody who was similar of networking with me. And yeah, they weren't easy to organize, but they were worth it when we were doing them. And we also added in the speed networking as well, which I think was everybody's
Mm.
favorite bit.
Yeah. I love that. And it's
Yeah.
so different to do it in person because you actually don't know who's coming next. Your screen goes blank and then somebody else will appear.
That's very true. Yes, it literally is like a round robin thing of, you move so quickly, and it's so brutal when it kicks you out.
Yes.
It's like
You
you are finished.
have to wind up quickly.
Yeah, it is brutal. But I think it keeps people short and sharp.
Yeah.
That's the introduction you need. Right. Well, then it's the time to then further that relationship. If you're interested in what that person's got to say about their business, how can you work together and things like that? Then it's, having to be proactive and actually then contacting that
Hmm.
person and saying, right, let's have a further discussion of what we can do, and let's understand your businesses and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Now, I'm also very interested in another kind of network that you set up, which is called Sofa Strength. Tell me about Sofa Strength.
So that came from the fact that I live with a couple of conditions. I have ME, which is also known as chronic fatigue syndrome,
Hmm.
and fibromyalgia. So I'm very, very lucky that in the last probably 7 or 8 years that I've turned my life around, where I'm now able to do exercise. I'm able to lead a pretty normal life,
Mm.
despite having these conditions. And I set up a support group in my hometown of Grantham, when I kind of turned this corner with my conditions, because at one point I was pretty much bedridden every 3 to 4 weeks,
Mm.
not being able to move, and everything like that. And I turned everything around. I started eating very differently. I started to slowly build up my strength with exercise, only certain exercising.
Hmm.
And I also changed my mind frame,
Hmm.
very much so. And I wanted to kind of share that with people, that it was possible. I still live with the daily pain. Some days are worse than others. I'm still absolutely shattered all the time. I can sleep for Britain. Um, and I wanted to show to people that actually you can live with these things and actually appreciate that you have these conditions. They've made me live my life
Mm,
completely different. And in some ways I say to people I'm grateful for them
mm,
because they're a daily reminder for me that life doesn't stop and that you have to keep going and actually you only have one life to live.
yeah.
And so I started a support group in Grantham, then I also took it down to Peterborough, and we had such a good response to it that actually again I wanted to support people online. So we again used the same concept as what we did at the actual face-to-face support groups and took them online, where people could meet an alternative therapist, they could talk to a nutritionist or a counselor or somebody who'd been in that position and kind of come through it and was living with it like myself.
Hmm.
So that was again the kind of thing that I wanted to do. And I did that primarily for ME and fibromyalgia sufferers, but we are also now looking to do that for other conditions as well
Mm,
in the future, because again, I still think we need that support network. And sometimes, again, with conditions such as ME and fibro, people are housebound, they can't get out
yeah.
and about anyway. So actually having a laptop in front of them is easier for them to come face to face to people. So yes, hopefully that will go from strength to strength when we restart doing that again as well. So
Mm.
and I'm building on that now, looking at how we can support as many people digitally as we can with that concept.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's been of such value to people. Through the pandemic, people with conditions, all sorts of conditions, have been, isolating at home, and the fact that they can see somebody on the computer screen and have a chat with someone must have been just such a great comfort to them.
Yeah, I think any support that people can give, to make you not feel that you're on your own,
Mm,
I think is a huge thing. I mean, even as mad as it sounds, with Heritage Lincolnshire, I've done a lot of talks programs, and the messages I get, you got us through the pandemic, and it's
yeah.
because people are living on their own, and actually being able to come online, see other people, hear somebody talk about something interesting, and then actually have that kind of conversation afterwards. It's been incredible that, do you know what, the things that you perhaps don't think affect people do, and they mean a lot to people. So
Mm.
I think, just seeing a friendly face on a screen, I know it's not the same. I know it's not the same as being able to physically hug people and have that kind conversation, face to face, but it's been a good substitute, I think, that has certainly assisted people to get and help them get through
Yeah.
this mad time we've had.
Yeah, and thank goodness we've had this technology available to us at this time.
Good God, yes. My God. I mean, I still say now, what would we do without mobile phones?
Yeah.
Even now. And I've had one for what, 20 years. But yeah, I mean, if this pandemic had been, you know, 50 years ago, or not, probably even not even that long ago, how would it? And we've certainly advanced. I know it will change the way that I work, and
Yeah.
also Heritage Lincolnshire have worked as well. So I think it has supported businesses, and hopefully it's also affected different things, like the environment. We've seen a lot more
Hmm.
wildlife and things like that, which has been really, really nice. And I've got a whole new appreciation for things like that now as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. So how do you see the future of your networking events, for the rest of this year and into next year? Are you going to remain online for the time being, or do you have plans for some face-to-face networking?
Well, I have got the first face-to-face event coming up in September. So I've got an exhibition that I'm running at the Lincolnshire Showground, which is for construction, property, sustainability, and heritage. So we'll see how that goes. We've got a very large space though, so I'm spacing a lot of people out and making sure that people feel comfortable. For the showcase networking, I think it will be next year, because before we were getting a lot of businesses in quite a small area.
Yeah.
So again, we've got to all feel comfortable, and I don't want to kind of push anybody into feeling uncomfortable. So I think the showcase networking will come back next year. This year so far, I have kind of taken a step back from the sofa networking, the digital aspect as well, because my job has just gone mental. So yeah, hopefully next year we will be back with the network and really pushing stuff, all kind of aspects, and exhibitions as well, because we've also got the big business event coming up just outside of Grantham in April next year. So we've got some key big events that are very spaced out. I hasten to add, first and foremost, and then I think, as people get a little bit more confident with all of this going on and the new normal, whatever that may be, then I'm hoping to really come back with showcase networking. Yes, definitely.
So tell me a bit more about the big business event. What format's that going to take?
So that's an exhibition, and it's going to be at the at Arena UK, which is just off the A1 northbound, just outside of Grantham. And yeah, again, I'm working with a fabulous woman, Deborah, of Queen Bee & Co. And again, we kind of felt that area didn't have a larger business event of somewhere that people could actually exhibit. Because I think, even though exhibitions are typically quite expensive, not just the stand, but also obviously everything that goes with the stand, the big banners and all of that kind of stuff. Again, we wanted to do it at a lower cost. We wanted smaller businesses to come along, and so we, the most expensive stand is £95, and you can actually split that as well with another business. And we say to people, look, don't spend a lot. We've advised them where they can go for banners that aren't as expensive and things. So yeah, we're just going to see how it goes. It's the first year we've done it, even though obviously we've delayed it, I think 2 or 3 times now. So technically we should be on our second year this year, and then next year should be our third. But hey ho, it's happened, and so yes, so it will be an exhibition format with other things going on throughout the day. There will be networking as well, and there will be talks for people to come along and just have a good businessy day out and connect with as many people as they can. So fingers crossed we don't cancel it again, and I think it will be a good thing for that local area.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed for sure. Well, thank you very much for joining me, Hannah. Just finally, if people are interested in either the big business event or your showcase events or sofa networking or sofa strength, how do they get hold of you?
Your best way would be possibly to email me, which is info@thedevelopmentpartnernetwork.com. Or find me on LinkedIn or anything like that, really. We've got so many platforms now, haven't we?
Yes.
Choose from. So yes, any way like that would be absolutely fantastic.
Well, thank you very much, and good luck with everything, and definitely fingers crossed for the big business event next April.
Thank you so much, Liz.
Thanks for listening to Small Business Big Network. If you found this podcast useful, please do rate, review and subscribe. And don't forget to share it with the rest of your network too.